Hey folks, and welcome back to Flexline Productions as we bring you the back nine of our second round out at Langan Municipal Park for the 31st Annual City of Mobile Championships. Hope you folks will like and subscribe and tune in for all the coverage. So we give a shout out to Saraland Pharmacy who helped make this coverage possible. My name is Dustin Mouret, and joining me once again is local pro JC Rohe as we see our lead card tackle the back half of this Langan Municipal Park course.
Yeah, we saw a pretty hot front round from Ezra Robinson at 9 down. Clay, Zach, and Kevin coming up a little short of that, but still scoring strong, so should be a good group for the back nine.
Yeah, again, this is the course where you want to be doing your big scoring in this tournament, as it's pretty wide open and lots of potential to get birdies out there. And so far, our lead card's doing a good job.
Yeah, and so we move into another change for the typical municipal layout. Hole 10 is playing as a par 4 here, combined of the normal 10 and 11. We've got OB left with the ditch, OB right with the street. It's worth noting that the sidewalk in the middle of the fairway is not out of bounds.
Yeah, it would normally play as the right OB line for normal hole 10, but with us combining the holes, it's right in the middle of the fairway, and yeah, it doesn't play as OB.
Yeah, adding a river on this already pretty tough par 4 would kind of hurt.
Yeah, that's a pretty good look there from Ezra.
Might have a gap. Yeah.
As you kind of have two different options I've seen people take on this combined hole. They'll either go the route that Ezra went and just try to smash something straight, or you'll sometimes see people play the hole kind of like normal, where they just go to the left gap and turn it over.
Yeah, my play on this is to honestly try to throw as close to the short tee as I can, or the hole 11 tee as I can.
Makes sense. As that tee is about what, 360 from the pin.
Yes.
So yeah, you can chop this hole in half. You'd be doing pretty good.
Kevin throwing this one a little wider than he probably wanted.
Tough kick too. He's got a lot of work to do to get up and down from there.
Yeah, the problem I have with being over there is you add a ceiling to your second shot where if you finish left, it's pretty high. It's pretty open.
That's true. Clay with not a bird.
Yeah, a little grip lock action. But fights back.
That's good enough.
He might have a shot down the road, which is something I haven't seen before.
Yeah. It's one of those holes that I feel like is not too hard to par, but definitely a very hard birdie.
And the footing right here, it can be a little, especially with the rain that we had yesterday, it can be a little slippery.
True. Should get up to Clay here, looking to throw his second shot. Has a clear line to the green, but again, you got to worry about the OB road right and that cement ditch left. And banging car noises, you gotta worry about that too.
Flirting with that ceiling there, but fights through, and he'll have a pretty decent look for birdie there, a little outside the circle.
Yep.
One pine tree probably in the way.
Yeah, not too shabby at all. As we can see that this is Zach just behind the white tee for hole 11. So again, he probably has about 370, 380 to the pin from here. Ooh, that's scary.
A little inside here.
Uh-oh. And that's Oscar Bravo.
Yeah, finds that OB ditch on the left side.
It's like a mid-range in here from Ezra.
Give him a look. Good shot.
Through the pines there. Yeah. Probably trying to be a little slower on that just so he doesn't have to worry about the out of bounds left or right.
Right. It's like a harp in hand here for Kiefer. Kind of a similar thought process, not wanting to get too much ground action, just control the speed coming in. As he doesn't have too much more to go to get to the basket, maybe like 250 or less.
Comes up a little short there.
Wow, yeah, he's had some struggles on this hole. As they are discussing the OB situation here.
So yeah, if you read in the caddy book on the out of bounds, it says OB in ditch, or it says in ditch on the listed in the out of bounds. Then in the middle of that, it says the sidewalk is not OB. So it could be understood maybe differently. So Zach's going to play from both in the ditch and playing it as out of bounds. Ultimate ruling will be that he was OB. But
Yeah.
just a little confusion there from the caddy book.
Another basket hit there from Kiefer. He's been all over the basket, honestly. He's obviously hit a few too, but I feel like every miss he's had has been on target. Jumper for Clay comes up just a touch short. Again, though, no harm in a par on this combined hole.
Yeah, this one feels really good to get the birdie, but you're not upset with the par.
The perfect round has died for Ever Robinson. Rest in peace. Let's see if he gets another hole. Still, though, 9 out of 10. I'm sure he's probably pretty happy with that. So, some par cleanups. Zach will be taking a 5. I think Kevin Kiefer will be as well.
Yeah, and that just goes to show if you ever have any confusion out there, call it provisional. It can't hurt. As we move into hole 11, typically hole B on the layout, par 3, 351 feet, same OB left with the ditch, OB right with the road, OB deep with the sidewalk. Most players are probably going to throw either turnover backhand or maybe even a slight hyzer around these trees.
Yes, this is one of the first times we've used this hole at City Mobile. Usually it's skipped over, but this year we decided to put it in play because we got a new cement tee pad put in place a few months ago, so we were able to get it in play. There used to be a Mando on this hole as well, on that first tree in the center, so it used to force people to play the left-hand side with a turnover or a forehand. But this year you actually could, in theory, just play a big backhand hyzer over the road and skip it into the green. So I'm curious to see like what options people take, as so far 2 of the 4 players have gone this left side.
Yeah, and Zach's definitely got the forehand for that, pushing it a little
Wow.
deep, flirting with that out of bounds. That normally doesn't come into play.
No, not at all.
And big shout out to the local club for putting in this tee pad. It definitely helps.
Yeah, really well done. I was a little surprised no one's taking this big backhand hyzer on the right-hand side.
Probably the same reason I was saying on the second shot for 11, the low ceiling, or on 10, the low ceiling comes into play and it creates an added difficulty that's not necessary.
That's true. As I say that, Kiefer might be going for it. It just makes it so you don't really have to hit any gaps. Like, if you just keep the disc low, and you should be good. It also takes that left ditch OB out of play.
Yeah, but that road definitely comes up quick, so.
Yeah, I mean, that comes into play for sure. No doubt about that. So you probably got some kind of orbit rive or pioneer in the hands here of Kevin Kiefer. Yeah, just skip it up there.
Flirting with the road the whole time, but gets it to skip back in.
A lot of players deep on this hole, which it does play slightly downhill to do tee pad, so I guess it is adding a little bit of distance to throws.
Just a little off there from Clay.
Yeah, we'll have to settle for par. Just outside the circle here is Ezra for his birdie. And just a little bit of a misfire there, uncharacteristic. So he'll be 9 down through 11.
Kevin not happy with his performance on the putting green there.
You know, it's hard to tell which side he missed on from our angle, but definitely caught a lot of chains. Just slightly off. Our last hope at birdie here is Zachary Nash. And he delivers.
Yeah, this is, even though it's 350, this is definitely one you want to get. on the back nine.
Absolutely. There's really only a couple of holes on this course you feel like you can't get, or it's almost impossible to get. So you want to be trying to get birdies everywhere you can.
All right, we move into hole 12, 360 feet. Big, wide open hyzer here. Some players may opt for a forehand, but I doubt it with this card, as the hyzer is just so open. Just take your distance driver or long fairway and rip it out there.
Yeah, a piece of trivia. A couple of years ago, you may have remembered a player by the name of Sullivan Tipton, who's become a bigger name now, actually, on the tour. I think he plays for M.A.D.G.A now. He used to play for Discraft's underground team. Actually aced this hole with a forehand. And I think the 29th annual City Mobile Championship.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Which was wild to see someone ace it, but then the ace with the forehand made it even more wild. So shout out to Sully. As a little bit of a wry tee shot there from Nash. This is the more typical play.
Yeah, and this hole has opened up a lot more. In years past, there was a bush in the middle of those three trees, and there was also a big oak on the right side that I believe it got struck by lightning, and they had to take it down.
We've also, in years past, had this hole play as a par 4 at a longer pin position, but it was just kind of too soft of a par 4 for pros, so shifted it back to the short pin par 3 position.
Yeah, I would like to see them put in a temporary position even further back that
Yep.
only gets played in tournaments. The worry is there's a walking path left that plays out of bounds, and it's very frequently used, so maybe for tournament golf we could get an even longer pin.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
A little right turn on that.
What is happening in that?
Fights back, though.
Yeah, stays in bounds. I didn't think the road would come into play, but Kevin was flirting with it.
So Zachary just having to throw a little chip forehand to save par here.
A lot of
That's a
commotion.
train. Yeah, that's a train. And there are some train tracks right across the street.
Very good for him to get the timing right where it wasn't in the middle of the horn.
Oh, it's hot band now this time. This dude's just all over the basket today. Just hasn't been able to quite get it in the chains consistently. What?
That was pretty solid center putt
That looked
there.
pretty good, yeah. That's a tough one.
I mean, Ezra does have a little steam on his putt, but that was low enough. I feel like that should have stuck.
Yeah, those are one of those ones that you feel like should stay. So a par for Nash, par for Ezra after that nasty spit out. Kiefer cleaning up a par as well. Clay, though, I believe, is going to get the birdie here. And we move on. This coverage is brought to you by Saraland Pharmacy, one of the biggest disc golf stores in southern Alabama. They have a wide variety of new and used equipment, so they can definitely take care of all of your disc golf needs. Be sure to check them out.
All right, we move on to hole 13, the plane hole if you're local to Mobile. A very low ceiling shot.
Why is it called the plane hole, Jason?
No idea.
Sorry.
Very low ceiling shot here for the righty backhand. Some players may opt for a forehand over the aircraft over there on the left side. One thing you really don't want to do is what Clay did right there is kind of come in a little early and you have that bush to putt over.
Yeah. You also want to avoid any aviation equipment on the left side in that fencing area as well. But yeah, this is a tougher par 3, not because of this, but just because of that low ceiling.
And you have OB deep also,
Yes.
so you can't just punch it low.
Right. Right. I've seen some success with like a wider hyzer right side of the tree and letting it flare skip left, but this is the typical route, and Ezra nails it nicely. Slightly obstructed putt, but still well within the circle, and still a good look at birdie from there.
All right, you should just be able to step out a little bit and have a look, no problem. Just
Playing so
a little inside there from Kevin as well.
The classic Bush collection zone over there on the left-hand side.
As I say, he's far enough left that he could probably get a putt over it. So.
Yep. Did he go OB?
So bad.
He did.
Wow, you don't see that too often. That's tough.
That disc is not going to fly the same. So one thing to note with Clay, what he was asking is you have 11 inches off the back of the disc to get, and so he's trying to get far enough back to get over the fence with a clean stroke.
Yeah. Oh, very accurate, but it's a touch high, so I'll have to settle for par there. This is Ezra for birdie, and he'll get it done. No spit out this time. Very well done. And Kiefer is now putting for bogey after going OB.
Like right here, guys?
But after he takes his meter, he's got a pretty short putt.
Yeah, that OB comes up a lot quicker than a lot of players expect.
No! You just hate to see something like that happen.
Yeah.
This is not a hole you want to be taking a double on. Just a little bit of a miscue there from Kiefer on this hole.
Zach a little high in the chains there, but it stays. Good birdie for him.
And the par for Clay as we move over to another hole named after a transport vehicle.
Yeah, the train hole, hole 14, par 3, 404 feet. You've got OB in the locomotive fence, and you've got OB left on the road. Still don't know why they call it the train hole.
You screwed me there because you said train and locomotive, so now I've got nothing. Like steam engine, the steam engine on the right-hand side.
So you'll see a lot of forehands here. Maybe from Ezra, a low mash with a backhand fairway. You really just have these limbs. Oh, that's a mash there from Zach.
Ezra just gave himself some self-dap there. That was a really sick forehand. This is a pretty tough hole in the long pin position, just because of how narrow the tunnel is and all the different OB that comes into play.
Yeah, you get the low ceiling with the live oak
That
surrounding
too.
the basket. Ezra playing this one a little short. Probably just lining up a circle 2 putt.
Nothing wrong with that. I feel like to get to this, the forehand really is the play to attack it.
I also like throwing a turnover over the train and kind of having it stall out and come back in.
Yeah. There used to be people that would play like a crazy big backhand hyzer right side.
Yeah, that bush on the right there is kind of growing up. It makes it
Yeah.
a little more difficult.
Another brilliant forehand here. Gets himself maybe just outside the circle. Nice turnover here from Kevin Kiefer. Will slide up just near the circle's edge. Yeah, I would say this is like one of the holes on the layout where you're not really expecting to get birdie like you are on some of the other holes. I mean, it can be done, but it's one that you're not, kicking yourself too hard about.
Yeah, it's a bonus birdie for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this one, and then like 18's a super bonus birdie. But yeah.
15 has kind of opened up, as you'll see, but in years past, it's definitely felt like a bonus birdie as well.
Especially with the OB ditch in the middle of the fairway that you have to contend with, as we'll talk about that soon. As we're wrapping up hole 14, as Clay hits a really nice long birdie putt, so props to him for that one. And
Pull himself one stroke closer to Ezra too. So
man, Kiefer has a chance to use this bonus birdie to kind of bounce back a little bit from that double on the previous hole. He's just all over the basket, man. It's just one of those days, it feels like, for him, where he's so close, but he just can't quite connect.
and Zach throwing deep of the basket off the tee.
That's crazy. I don't know that I've really seen that. What a hole. What a well-played hole by him. Wow. Super impressive.
So he showcased the power on hole 6 with the forehand, and definitely got 400 plus power.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's not even just the distance on this hole. It's also just how tricky the fairway is. To be able to do that is super awesome. As we move on to that hole 15 we were talking about.
Right, so as you mentioned, we have the ditch in the middle of this fairway, 395 feet. Players are going to most likely try to throw a flex forehand or a hyzer low and smash it across the ditch right here to give themselves a 30-footer pretty routinely, but some players might try to get a little more aggressive.
Yeah, some people will also kind of just roll the dice and try to crash through that tree line on the right-hand side in, but then you really bring that OB ditch risk into play. And I'm not sure where Nash would have landed there. He looked like he landed near the ditch, but he might still be in bounds.
Yeah, I think he landed short and safe, but just a little overcooked on the forehand.
Yeah.
And you can see the tennis court that we mentioned in in the front 9 coverage. These guys were going ham.
Yeah. Again, another bonus birdie hole for sure. But this looks like a great shape.
Needs to stay down.
That's OB.
Yeah, that need a little more turn.
Is that creek?
Yeah, I kind of wish this creek didn't play as OB, just because I think it's already still a pretty tight corridor to get through to get yourself up to the green for a putt. But
I know in years past we played past this walk bridge down here as casual water.
I kind of like that.
I like it.
That's a good compromise, I think, because that's OB as well, and that was a solid shot. It kind of makes it to where if you want to be super safe, you have to play like an even wider right hyzer, like the right side of the center pine, and just skip left and then just pitch up for par.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
I mean, you can sometimes get a window in there that gives you like a half bid look.
Yep. That's always been my play on this hole when that ditches OB. Tricky situation here for Zachary Nash, but that's a great little jump anti-putt approach.
As I'd say, if you got the distance to jump putt from there, then it's pretty easy at that point. Kevin just pitches up there as well.
Yep. This is a par putt, I believe, for Clay.
All right, with the OB ditch.
Yep.
Slip. Almost gets it to connect still, though.
Yeah, it's going to be bogey, though. As this is also a par putt from Ezra after going OB off the tee. A little bit closer to the basket, but some tricky footing. Oh, as you can see, very tricky footing. And just leaves it a touch low, so he'll take his first blemish on the scorecard this round.
Yeah, that footing is just a little difficult to get a good stroke to the basket.
So we'll see our card kind of lick their wounds. We are going to have a par from Nash, but a couple of bogeys being carded here along the way from the rest of the card. As we move over to hole 16, where we have, I would say, greener pastures ahead for our players for a shot at birdie. This coverage is brought to you by Saraland Pharmacy, one of the biggest disc golf stores in southern Alabama. They have a wide variety of new and used equipment, so they can definitely take care of all of your disc golf needs. Be sure to check them out.
As we move into hole 16, a much easier par 3 than the last 2 holes that we played. 291 feet. You really only have these 2 trees surrounding the basket to contend with. Technically, a ditch in front of the tee box is out of bounds, but I don't think that'll come into play. Most players are going to opt for a backhand straight at it, like Kevin's doing, or maybe a forehand on the wide open gap to the left.
Yeah, the left side's definitely the most open side, so it definitely plays well for the forehand if you've got it, which I imagine Zachary Nash and Clay Edwards are going to play that forehand line. Ezra probably going to play the backhand up the gut. And I'm wrong. Despite having a strong forehand, Zach's electing for the backhand up the middle.
It's probably too short of a hole for him to throw his forehand.
Yeah, just too swole. There's not a slow enough disc for him to forehand on this hole.
But I mean, if you play it like that, that's okay. So,
Yeah, that works fine.
So you were 1 for 2. Zach
Yeah,
is
close.
going, Clay is going for the forehand.
That was close. It's also tricky footing for the forehand a little bit, as well as how the hill slopes. But if you throw it high enough, you should be able to get there no problem.
So Clay just sneaking a little inside of those trees. Typically, you'd want to go outside. But still putt. I believe that's a pretty stable run of M4 there from Ezra, and he throws it perfectly.
Yes, he does. Unfortunately, Kiefer got caught on one of those trees guarding the front side of the green, so he's got a little bit of a longer birdie putt here in front of him, probably just outside the circle. And this is his first time kind of just not even drawing metal, so...
It can be tough mentally to try to dial in the middle of the round, and it's taking a toll on him.
Yeah. Birdie, though, there for Mr. Edwards, and Zachary Nash and Ezra probably going to follow suit. Got some pretty close putts to get their birdies. I mean, Ezra's just practically a drop-in. This Kiefer will collect the par. There's the birdie from Zachary Nash. And Ezra should follow suit here soon. Putting together certainly a score that's going to keep him in contention for the tournament thus far.
And it's good to, even though it's a pretty simple hole, it's good to get that little bounce back birdie there.
Yep.
As we move into hole 17, shorter par 4 at 601 feet. OB all along the left side of the ditch, and then natural OB on this right side. If you end up in there, you're probably going to take a couple strokes getting out.
Yep.
But the OB definitely tapers down towards the basket.
There is some OB deep as well that you have to worry about in your approach shot. And if you really shank one, you could go OB right. But, I mean, I don't think anyone on this card's going to do it.
That didn't even cross my mind.
It crosses my mind sometimes. That's really kind of dealer's choice in this hole. Again, I'm surprised as strong of a forehand as he had that he didn't go for that. But, I mean, that is...
As a strong of a backhand he's got, too.
It doesn't really matter, dealer's choice, yeah. As definitely one of those holes you really want to birdie, just because it is a shorter par 4. As long as you can stay in bounds off the tee, you should have a good chance to score.
Yeah, I think putting that much power into it, you know, you don't want to force over a forehand. And so if you accidentally pull over on the backhand, you're still safe.
Yeah. Just got to make sure you keep that nose down and don't stable out too early and wind up in the ditch that way.
Zach needs to sneak through these trees.
Yeah, he did.
Does.
That's still a cutoff angle, though, unfortunately, for his approach shot. Going to make it a lot tougher to get up and down.
Yeah, he could go big turnover backhand or maybe a low ceiling forehand.
Yep. Can't wait to see how far Ezra gets up the fairway with this shot. The guy just smokes a disc, man.
Just never quite got back hyzering out, but still impressive.
Considering how low he threw it as well.
Right.
That was so much distance. Kiefer wasting no time with this shot.
Hold.
That might be OB. Yeah, it is. You can tell he's kind of rushing his shots now, too. Like, he's just kind of out of it, it feels like.
Just aggravated.
Yeah. Very atypical of him.
Clay going for that low forehand skipper. Give himself about a 40-foot look for birdie.
Yep. Kiefer just trying to get up and down for par after going OB off the tee, which he will do no problem. Just a stepper approach here for Zachary Nash will give him a good look at birdie.
Ezra will probably give this a slight run. No, never mind. Well, that would be deep. I would imagine, yeah, I'd probably just pitch up then.
So it looks like we should see at least 2 birdies, potentially a 3rd birdie here from Edwards if he can hit this long putt. We see him hit a few.
Just a little inside, and that's filtering down towards that out of bounds.
Yes, it is. Oh, man. We'll have to see. But first, we're going to see Zachary Nash and Ezra Robinson knock down some birdies, it looks like. So I believe Ezra is, what, 12 down through 17 now?
10.
He will be.
Oh, 11 then.
Yeah, he will be 11. That's right. As he shot 11 down the first round at Admiral. Seems like Edwards did stay in. So he will grab the par.
Yeah, very fortunate to stay up on top there. That's a very very dangerous slope there.
Yep, so 11 under par to match his first round score, but 1 hole left to play, and it's a treacherous one.
Right, we move into hole 18, island hole, 375 feet, but before you have to worry about that island, you have to get through this gap here, and it can be dangerous to even do that. So I don't know if we'll see any players really run the island here. It's definitely doable. Ezra might with that low punch shot that he's been doing. The flex forehand play gets you out and around and possibly right at the basket for a long putt.
Yep. Oh, is that OB?
I think he's halfway on the bridge, halfway off, so he should be in.
Yeah, because the line is like right at the bridge, I think.
So Ezra pushing it a little long here.
That's OB.
That is OB, yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised that they're not playing just for par and playing shorter. There's no need to get too aggressive off this tee box in the second round. So I'm a little shocked to see how much steam they're putting on their tee shots. I feel like this is a layup, take your par, move on kind of hole.
Yeah, I personally like the way that Zach approached it. Never really going towards the out of bounds, but still giving yourself the 50, 60 footer look.
Sure. There's also just nothing wrong with throwing like a putter or mid right up the middle and just pitching to the island and taking a 3. Now, obviously, this is like final round, final hole, and you need to go for it. It's a different story.
Yeah, layups are for basketball, though.
Okay. And that looks like it went OB as well.
It's flirting with it.
Man, I'm a little surprised. I really thought it would be other issues our players might face on this hole rather than going deep.
And Kiefer feeling like he has nothing to lose. Looks like he's running the island.
Oh, boy. Oh, are you serious? He was so close to making it, too.
He had the distance for sure.
Oh, he definitely did. The thing is, though, is even if you had the distance, that it's such a tightly packed island that you could just skip right off of it into the water.
Right.
So I feel like most successful runs land on the short side and skip across.
Yeah. Or hit the front bank of the island and
Yeah.
kind of just settle.
And just dig, yeah.
Looks like Clay was in bounds there, but he did
Oh,
get
okay.
his relief.
Nice. That's good. That's a good break.
Just playing it right into the bush short.
Yep. So he'll be able to get his 3. Ezra definitely went OB. So this would be like a long par putt if you were to run this. But very likely going to be bogey in the hole. That was a good run, though.
I was about to say, you didn't watch him putt in round 1, so.
And yeah, look at that. Just before the OB line here. Long birdie putt attempt here for Nash. But obstructed. Did he go?
No, there's enough
Okay.
enough land over there. Kevin, one last look. That
I see water. Yeah, that's an OB. So that will be bogey for Ezra, so he'll shoot 10 under this round.
Respectable.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, no. Unfortunate day for Kevin Kiefer. Takes a triple there. That's just well below what I know he's capable of doing. Yeah, that's tough. I know Kevin is capable of greater things than this. Just had a tough day. We're going to see par there from Mr. Nash. Keeps him 5 strokes off Ezra. Clay Edwards will keep himself 3 strokes off of Ezra. But we may have had some hotter rounds jump up into the lead card for the next round based on what we're seeing. Let's take one last look at things here at our second round at Langan Municipal Park. 1 round left to go at the Admiral to decide things at our 31st Annual City Mobile Championship. So be sure to follow and subscribe here at Flexline Productions to catch the conclusion of this tournament. But as far as things go for this card, Ezra Robinson still sitting in a good position at 21 under par. Played a great round. Clay and Zachary Nash not too shabby. Tough day for Kevin Kiefer. Hopefully he can recover in the third. But we'll take our leave now on Dustin Mouret with me, JC Rowe, and we'll catch you for the final round here shortly.